Hello everyone, Rachel Easton here. I was out for a drive on this lovely fall day and I thought I would stop by the Minter Creek Fish Hatchery and give you guys kind of a quick little peek into what's happening in the creek. So come walk with me. This is a really cool spot right on the Key Peninsula. So basically, here, let me flip my camera around here so you can sort of see where we are. Walking down this trail. Now this trail wasn't here last year and there was a little bit of a treacherous cliff you had to scale down to get down to the creek. So I'm really glad some folks added this right here. But this is Minter Creek Floodplain area right here. And so you can see we've got all this kind of marshy grass. It's pretty muddy and it's been trampled on a bit. We've got some invasives, our typical Himalayan blackberries hanging out here. But then we've got the native grasses. I see some cool berries over here. I love getting out in the fall because all the plants have their fruiting bodies here. Cool to see. Okay, so it's mud. So if you're gonna come out and visit the salmon, you're definitely gonna want to bring the right foot gear. Wet, soggy, but here's a really good look at this whole estuary area where the fresh water comes out. When we get a lot of it and when there's a high tide, this area will fill in a little bit. So right up there's the road. You can kind of see the cars. That's where we park. And then we just head down to the creek. Now there's a few fishermen, fisherwomen out here today. But because it's low tide, there's probably not going to be a big push of salmon heading up this moment. But we'll keep our eyes peeled and see if we can see some of them. So right now, these are, I believe, silver salmon. The timing's right for some silvers to be heading up. Silvers are also known as coho salmon. So we teach kids the 5 species of salmon and 2 species of trout that we have here in the Pacific Northwest. So I'm going to teach you really quick. The first is you're going to use your thumb for chum. That's what we're going to see later on in about mid-November and December. So thumb for chum. You can point to your eye or your sock for sockeye. Your tallest finger is the king of all your other fingers for king salmon, also known as Chinook. You might wear some silver on your ring finger for silver salmon. And then pinky for pink salmon, that's an easy one. And then for our 2 trout species, you're gonna make a fist and hit yourself on the head for a nice hard steel head. And then take your thumb and slit your throat for cutthroat. So we've got a lot of diversity here. Oh, you guys are gonna laugh at me. I'm gonna jump across this right now. Let's hope I don't fall on camera. That would be really, well, maybe it's mushy enough. Oh yeah, that's nice and mushy. Okay, here we go. Try not to fall. Oh, we made it. Woohoo! Okay, I'm glad I didn't just eat it right there. Okay, so we're still walking along in this floodplain and this area looks really, really different on a high tide. So right now we're about, 10, 20 minutes. Ooh, I heard a fish. We're about 10, 20 minutes away from the low tide. But I just caught a splash of a fish who saw me and darted. So this is a good little ripple pool. There's a log. I don't know if you guys can quite see the log right there. There's some leaves hung up on it. That's creating a little calm pool right here, and it's deeper than, say, the other side of the stream there. The stream also goes a little bit on the other side of this island, but mostly follows this channel right here. So let's keep walking. Let's see what we can see. So like I said, on a high tide, you would not be able to walk all the way out here. Ooh, here's a nice clear spot. Let's see if we can see any fish waiting here. This is where I wish I had a polarized filter for my camera. A polarizing lens would cut some of that glare and let us peer into the water a little easier. They make sunglasses. I don't know if they make iPhone lenses. We'll have to investigate that. But, ooh, mush. Nearly sank into my knee here. Really, really mushy. So you can kind of see the color of the water is beginning to change. It's looking really kind of brown or even orangish. And that is from the tannins in the leaves. So as we're getting into the fall season and the leaves are falling, they land on the ground and in the stream, and they leach those tannins into the water, and it kind of turns the whole thing like tea almost. All right. So right along the bank here is a good spot for salmon to be hiding because they can kind of be sheltered a little bit. You'll notice there's a couple of little predators here looking for a meal. We've got some gulls. When I first parked, I got an earful from a bald eagle that was hanging around. Sometimes you see them just right along here on the shore. So let's take a look. Let's go down, see what we can see. Uh-oh, fishing line. I don't like to see that. Oh, bit of a net. Let's see if I can take that with me. Leave this place a little better than we found it. I'm a little surprised that there's not more carcasses here. A lot of the spawned out fish, after they're done reproducing, will just discard their, well, I mean, because they die. They don't discard their carcasses, but the carcasses end up washing out. And that's what a lot of these gulls are preying on, the dead salmon. There's a lot of nutrients that come up. Look at this big pool here. This gets nice and deep. It's a great spot for fish to be hiding. So my guess is we're not seeing a ton of fish right now because it is low tide, and that means the fish have a lot less water to swim through. So as we walk down this way, you can see how shallow it gets. It's only maybe a foot or two deep, and in some places it stretches and you only get maybe a couple of inches of water to swim through. So a lot of these fish will wait until a higher tide. I was hoping we'd see at least a couple kind of hanging out here. So now what I'll do is we'll walk up. We'll walk up and see what we can see a little closer to the hatchery where the fish kind of concentrate. That's where all the fishermen and fisherwomen are. So hopefully they know something that we don't and are able to locate some fish for us to look at here. And again, if you're just tuning in, I'm at the Minter Creek Fish Hatchery on the Key Peninsula, kind of near Gig Harbor. And walking through very treacherous, muddy, swampy ground here on the search for some salmon. So this is a hatchery. It's run by the state of Washington, and they supplement, I think, king and silver and chum salmon, all which are important native species. There's no non-native species that are grown by the state, although there are some private entities that do farm Atlantic salmon. We want to see the natural ones here. So we're walking along. Thanks for tuning in with us. Go ahead and put in the comments where you're watching from. We always like to know that information. Oh, I gotta jump this thing again. All right, here we go. Made it. Woo. So yeah, go ahead and put in the comments where you're watching from, and maybe if you think we're gonna see a salmon today. All right, I'm not gonna jump this one. I'm gonna get down and cross it where I think I can do so safely. Maybe. No, I'm gonna go down over here. The ground looks a little more firm down here, so I'm gonna jump down the bank and head over. There's other footprints here, so it's probably an okay way to go. Hey, look, and here's footprints from what looks like maybe a river rat or maybe a cat. Gosh, that looks like a house cat right there. That's a pretty small footprint right there. Interesting. Okay, carefully. I'm gonna navigate right along the side of the stream here. So if we see some salmon, we'll be able to point them out to you, hopefully. Oh, so how big are the salmon that we see here? They're pretty good size. So these are fish that have been out in the saltwater for about 2 years, maybe 3 to 5 for some of the really large ones. And they get about as big as my arm, if that's a good indicator of size. Well, see some that are really, really big, but I don't know as far as weight goes, maybe 10 pounds probably. Okay, I gotta go back up. I don't want to disturb the gravel beds too much because there are fish in this area. This right here gets a little bit of saltwater influx, so it's not going to be a place where they would be laying eggs. They're going to go farther upstream, closer to the hatchery itself. And the way the hatchery works is they control which fish make it up to spawn and which fish they're going to spawn artificially, kind of in this captive environment. So let's go peek underneath the bridge and see if we can't see any. Let's see. Now this branchy section where there's trees growing over the stream is excellent hiding spots for salmon. So I don't see any. Heading up here. So, all right, we're gonna climb up the treacherous bank here and we'll cross the street and go look on the other side. Okay, bear with me. I gotta do a little off-roading, right? Hi there. Okay, we'll cross the street and let's take a look on this side. Sometimes you can see them from above pretty well. So there's the hatchery there. And we're looking, ooh, I do see a few more carcasses on this side. I don't know, I'm gonna try to zoom in if you can see. There's a salmon spine there. A lot of times, ooh, I hear an eagle. Ooh, I see an eagle. You guys probably can't see it, but way up in that tree right there is a bald eagle. All right, I'm gonna go cross through this little muddy section and see if we can get closer. I want you guys to see a salmon. You've been hanging in with us this far. And I apologize for the not so steady cam footage. This is not like walking on a sidewalk, friends. It is a little slippery. I just know half of you guys are watching waiting for me to just fall right on my butt. Ooh, I hear that's a kingfisher. So they would be utilizing this area, eating salmon, eating other small little fish like sculpin that would be in this area. And more importantly, preying on the eggs. So a lot of the eggs that get laid here, they'll wash out and drift downstream, and the kingfishers and the gulls will take advantage of that. Again, lots of kind of tea-colored water from all the tannins and the leaves that are falling. See those nice big leaf maples there? Quite pretty. Let's keep going. So all of this is area where the salmon are reared. Various species will be here for different lengths of time, and they get fed. That's what's happening right up there. This guy that you can see in the background is feeding salmon. The hatchery system gives the fish kind of a head start in their life, so gives them a little edge over their wild counterparts. Sorry, the pumps make a lot of noise, so I'm gonna try to scooch past. Let's see what we can find up here. So here we're getting to the part of the stream where it is kind of gated off and controlled by the hatchery. So they control the flow and they control which fish make it up and which ones don't. Let's see if there's any hanging around. We're kind of towards the end of the silver season. We might get a random weird late one, but I don't see any. These are either some shy fish or sometimes they open the gates and let them all through, so there's not a big backlog of them waiting here. Do you see lots of little birds? I don't know if you guys can see those little songbirds. Here, let's walk down, see what we can see down on this side. The songbirds are here because they also will eat salmon eggs. Any little extra push for their survival, they'll take advantage of. Let's see, I'm gonna walk carefully. Okay, I see evidence that a big bird was sitting here. because there's a lot of bird crap right there. And that's probably, I would guess, maybe a heron. Could be a gull, I guess. Ooh, I heard a splash. So there are fish in here. So what we'll do is we'll come back here in maybe a month or so when the chum salmon are coming upstream. And they're the second largest species of salmon. They get quite big. And so they put on kind of an impressive show. Chum salmon are a shorter spawning species, meaning they don't travel like thousands of miles like, say, a sockeye salmon would. But they, oh, hey there. Sorry, I didn't see you there. You're very camouflaged, little juvenile seagull. Sorry to interrupt your fishing. All right, so no fish. You're right, no fish today. We'll just have to get our timing right a little bit. I'll try and post some video in the comments from a couple of weeks ago when there was a lot. Oh, there goes a bald eagle. When there was a lot more fish here. And I'll try to come back on a higher tide and give you guys a glimpse of how this environment changes when we get a nice high tide. Because it all plays a role in the timing of when the fish come up and when they don't. So thanks for hanging in here with us. Sorry to disappoint you with no fish and not even a cool carcass to look at. I'm surprised about that. That's how you know the predators have been out, that there's lots of opportunities taken here by the wildlife. Oh, sorry, seagull. Here I am chasing you again. I didn't mean to. But, all right. This is good to know for later on in November. So thanks for tuning in. Hopefully we'll find some more fish next time.